This video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball's app makes it easy to keep up to date with transfer news, scores and stats all in the one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. The app is free.
Silver's Blues falter once more at his old stomping ground. There's a lot of talk around this game in terms of the press. Marco Silva returning to Watford after what is still a disputed claim over us tapping him up last year. Troy Deeney came out obviously this week and had those comments about kicking the shit out of the team. And Marco Silva was able to respond saying that it was able to motivate the players in the same way Troy Deeney said that that aggression would do. Looking at the team before the game, a lot of people would have said that Marco Silva had a good foundation to build off after last week against a good performance against Man City, against the younger players coming into the team in Kenny, Davis captaining. They had a chance to stake more of a place and build on what people felt was a good performance last week. But instead he changes it, tinkers with the team once again, bringing Richarlison and Gylfi back into the team after benching them against City. He went for like a diamond in midfield of Gomez, Ghana, Tom and Gylfi, with Gylfi and Tom kind of swapping that forward attacking role every now and again. Tom kept his place as captain, interestingly. Kenny stayed, and obviously Richarlison came back in, dropping those two. Toasting as well up top, dropping those two wingers and going for quite a narrow play. Funnily enough, it was a similar kind of way to Watford lined up. Looking into the game itself, those first 45 minutes really lacked quality on both sides. I didn't see too much from Everton or from Watford really. Both teams struggling to get any quality on the ball. We looked poor on crosses 10 minutes in, I would have said. Which was typically a Koeman trait in years gone by, with set pieces being our biggest hurdle of times recently. But we looked a bit, without Pickford's forehead save, those first opening 10 minutes, they kind of saved us. Tosin had a chance, and then Shelf followed shortly after by Gylfi hitting the crossbar. Easy to forget though, in a game like this, we had a couple of chances like that, but it was easily buried in amongst the poor performance that came, especially in the second half. Right on the start of that second half, a very astute Watford manager brings Andre Gray on when they win a free kick as Digne gives one away on the edge of our box. Danger signs, alarm bells ring. Funnily enough, we actually deal with that free kick pretty well. We're able to deal with it following the free kick and then an open play, and obviously it comes off the corner. And there's an issue towards the end of the game, as we clearly see with Zuma and the referee, over whether Pickford got a touch there, which led to the corner. Regardless of that fact, to switch off in the way that they did after dealing well with the set piece, which has been our biggest stumbling block over the last few weeks, is just unforgivable. They just completely switch off from open play. Really easy to see everybody along that back line, everybody from Ghana who was coming back, well into the team along that back four, just switch off. It's an easy goal for Gray, just brought on in the 65th minute. That's kind of in between two changes by Marco Silva. He brought Walcott on for Gomez, which bemused me and a lot of fans, I think, seeing as Walcott wasn't great last week, wasn't great the week before, and hasn't really done much to replace Lookman in the team. I think a lot of people will agree. Bernard comes on for Richarlison in the 66th minute, just after that goal goes in. Again, a little surprisingly, I think a lot of people would have liked to see Richarlison and Bernard on those wings. Towards the end of that game, as we were trying to get an equaliser, Walcott again just didn't offer too much going forward. I think some people thought that they had a good game in that Man City game. And a lot of people didn't as well. I was surprised for one anyway. Later on that game, in terms of substitutions, there wasn't really too much. Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming on for Gylfi. And in those last few minutes, we had two chances. Digne hits off the crossbar, second time in the game. An optimist would say that we were unlucky maybe not to score two of those goals. But it's followed quite quickly by a missing of a sitter by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, just brought off the bench, fresh legs, fresh mindset, couldn't finish, not good enough. Tosin does the exact same thing shortly afterwards. Sitter should have buried it, couldn't do it. And it just summed up the game. It sums up what we have in the striker role, but ultimately it sums up that game for us. Obviously there was an issue at the end of the game with Zuma and the referee, as we mentioned. Zuma feeling that the corner that had been gifted before Watford's only goal in the 64th minute was incorrect, but ultimately we couldn't keep our cool from open play. That's why we give the goal away, and then Zuma couldn't keep his cool at the end of the game. I know we've been wanting for people to have a go at the referee to really call him on some decisions being made. But he couldn't keep us cool at the end of the game, and ultimately we can't use somebody who has been good for us, or has at least been relatively solid at the back, and we probably would have used. I mean, I would prefer to replace Keane with Mina than Zuma with Mina, to be honest, for the next few weeks, and we're hoping obviously he's going to come in. Marco Silva didn't stay on that touchline very long. He shot down the tunnel, but was, I would imagine, a difficult day for him coming back to his old club. Footballing wise, not able to compete, or at least not being able to win the game. There was a lot of stigma around Silva in terms of his ability at Everton, in terms of his ability at Watford, in terms of the way that things ended between him and his former club when Everton came in for him last year. There's some bigger questions to be asked here. It's a really poor run of form, and it's been particularly bad. For the last 3 years, we come to this point in the year, end of January, start of February, and we had crisis point. David Squires did it really well in his cartoon a few weeks ago in The Guardian. We get to this point every year, and we hit a crisis point for the last 3 years, and rightly so. It's not been the right level, don't get me wrong. It's not been to the standard. It's not been the results. It's not been the team. It's not been the attitude that we want at Everton Football Club. But something told me a few weeks ago that after everything in the last 3 years, after the merry-go-round of managers that we've had, being topped off by Allardyce last, and we can see how bad it could really get if we keep going along that way. I think there's more patience from fans this year. I certainly thought it a few, maybe after the Huddersfield game, I certainly thought then that there was more patience from the fan than the media were letting on. There was an understanding that we need stability. There was an understanding that there's somebody more at the helm of the ship in terms of Marcel Brands. But how long is that patience going to last? I think a lot of fans want Marc Silva. Of course we want them to succeed. Of course we want them to turn it around. Of course we want this team to be his team. And we want them to play the way we want Everton to play, and we want them to win games like that. But at what point do you give him too much time? At what point do we waste time? We've already wasted it 3 times in a row now. We've made the wrong decision since this money is coming from Mashiri. And obviously the stories have come out about Bielsa, about replacements being eyed up. Ultimately, as fans, I think we want a bit of comments, whether it be from Brands for the board. I think there is a split starting to grow in terms of people wanting Silva out or not. For me personally, it's a difficult one. I think stability is massive for us now. I would hate to see us do what we've done for the last 3 years and what we know damages us. And what I think ultimately damages the squad further is just chopping and changing managers, chopping and changing managerial staff. This group of players is turning into... This group of players has had the same number of managers as teams that I would have looked at a few years ago, mid-table teams, hoping when Martinez was sacked when we first got that money that's not what would happen with us. Ultimately, that's not the case. Ultimately, I don't know whether Silva's good enough. The results certainly suggest that he's not. I mean, the results haven't been there. The performances haven't been there. And I think if it had been slightly better, there would be more patience coming from the Everton fans. But it's pretty dire. It's pretty awful. It's worrying that he had so many players brought in at the start of the season and he's still not been able to perform with them. It's not even like Allardyce last year having 2 players. It's really difficult. Ultimately, for me, I think we still need to give them a little bit of time. I think it would certainly buy time for the manager, the coaching staff, and relieve some of the Everton fans would be a comment from Marcel Brands, a comment from the board. They understand that it's not good enough, but we've seen this entrenchment happen over the last few years when the alarm bells start ringing and things start going wrong. It's just really not good enough. Beyond that, it was a really dross game to go to Watford and for them to have all the comments that they had midweek from Troy Deeney, from the fans, and ultimately show that Silva wasn't good enough twice this year to play them, not beat them. Really not good. I think Silva has started... Our opinion of Silva has changed over the last few weeks. He's beginning to look like he's on borrowed time, and he's beginning to look really nervous too. Stability is the main thing that we need at Everton Football Club, but whether that's with or without Marco Silva is yet to be seen. Let us know what you think in the comments below.